pure vision, an exposition on His Holiness, the 13th Dalai Lama's last will and testament, as prophecy and warning to us all, by H.G.FASS. For those of us who look to His Holiness the 13th Dalai Lama, Thubten Gyatso, with profound faith, his 1932 last will and testament is far more than just a piece of political writing. It is the distilled insight of a Bodhisattva statesman who carried the full weight of Tibet's spiritual and temporal responsibilities on his shoulders, and who, at the very end of his life, spoke with heartbreaking honesty about the impending dangers that were coming to his people and country. The 13th Dalai Lama is remembered as the Great 13th, the one who reaffirmed Tibet's independence after the fall of the Qing dynasty, and who struggled to modernize and protect the country in the face of British and Chinese military invasions, and later Soviet communist pressure. In 1932, less than a year before his passing, he issued a final testament at the request of the Tibetan government, a sweeping reflection on his life, an evaluation of Tibet's internal weaknesses, and, most strikingly, a prophetic warning that a ruthless communist system would one day threaten the existence of the land of snow. From a devotional perspective, this testament reads as an act of compassion. His Holiness did not write to glorify himself or to cling to power. He wrote to awaken Tibet to grave danger, thus urging the monastic and lay communities, aristocrats and commoners, to unite, to reform, to strengthen their army and administration, and to defend the indivisible union of Dharma and state. Historical background. Thubten Gyatso's life unfolded in a time of turmoil. He saw British troops march into Tibet, Chinese imperial officials try to swallow Tibetan sovereignty, and Mongolia fall under the crushing boot of Soviet-backed communism. Twice he went into exile, forging ties with India and the wider world, then returning to Lhasa to reassert Tibet's right to govern itself as a sovereign nation. After the fall of the Qing in 1911 into 1912, Tibet enjoyed a period of independence under his leadership. During this time, the 13th Dalai Lama tried to strengthen Tibet's institutions, creating a modern postal service, minting currency, and attempting to modernize the army, while protecting the monastic universities and the integrity of the Buddhist tradition. By the early 1930s, he had already watched communist forces devastate Mongolia's monasteries and religious life. Tibetan sources and later historians note that in his testament, he explicitly warns that unless Tibet repels the communist system, the country will share Mongolia's fate and see its religious freedom and holy institutions destroyed. The 1932 testament, often called the Will and Prophecy, or simply the Last Testament, was formally presented as a response to a recent long-life offering, but it is, in truth, his final guidance and teaching to the people of Tibet and beyond. In it, His Holiness reviewed his life and the challenges faced by Tibet, including foreign invasions and internal factionalism, criticized the failings of Tibetan officials with their corruption, laziness, and apparent short-sightedness that had left the state weak and vulnerable, urged the strengthening of Tibet's army and foreign relations, not out of aggression, but rather to safeguard the Dharma and the welfare of the people by being militarily strong, issued a stark prediction that, if Tibet does not wake up, a communist system will be forced upon it, its monasteries destroyed, and its religious and political leaders eliminated without a trace. For a devout Buddhist, this is not mere politics. It is karmic cause and effect, explained in worldly terms. The 13th Dalai Lama is saying, if Tibetan aristocrats cling to self-serving privilege, if it fails to purify corruption and modernize wisely, then the natural consequence of these will give rise to being swallowed up by a totalitarian communist ideology that will destroy everything sacred. Tragically, history proved him exactly right. Within 2 short decades of his passing, the People's Liberation Army invaded Tibet. The brutal and fraudulent 1951 17-point agreement was signed at gunpoint, and in the following years, the vast majority of monasteries were destroyed, and most monks and nuns disrobed under Chinese communist rule. For those who revere the Great 13th, every ruined temple and every lost sacred text or teacher is a terrible confirmation of his wise foresight. Human rights, religious freedom, and the reality of communism in practice. From a human rights perspective, the testament is extraordinary because it links spiritual concern with legitimate political warning about what's at stake when a people lose their sovereignty to hostile foreign communist control. His Holiness is not speaking in vague abstractions here. He is warning that when a state built on militant atheism and absolute centralized power reaches Tibet, it will do everything it can to annihilate the conditions for spiritual liberation within a Buddhist context. The Sangha, the teachings, and the freedom to live according to one's own individual conscience will be denied. The historical record in Tibet, Mongolia, and elsewhere under communist regimes all bear this out. In Tibet, after 1959, Chinese authorities destroyed around 98% of the monasteries and disrobed a similar proportion of monastics. Acts documented, even by Tibetan leaders working within the PRC, such as the late Panchen Lama's 70,000 character petition, similar patterns of repression, mass executions, forced labor camps, suppression of religious practice, are all to be found across every communist state that arose in the 20th century, in every location. In closing, the 13th Dalai Lama's last testament is not a closed chapter. It is an ongoing instruction to protect Tibet's right to exist as itself, to resist systems that trample human beings and sacred traditions, and to meet even the darkest forces of history with pure clarity, unshakable courage, and sincere compassion. Last Will and Testament by the Great 13th Dalai Lama. Ever since I was recognized and installed as a reincarnation of the excellent master, the 12th Dalai Lama, in accordance with the predictions of great lamas and guardian deities, and without it being necessary to select by drawing lots from the golden vase, I had studied under holy tutors such as Tatsak Hutuktu, the regent, and Purchok Rinpoche and others, in the traditional way. I learned by heart the texts on congregational services, received the primary and secondary ordinations, practiced public disputation on the 5 branches of Buddhist doctrine, received a series of transmissions on sutra exposition, and major and minor tantric initiations, instructions as a matter of daily routine, without interruption, in accordance with my mental capacity. Even though my experience in such affairs is scanty, ever since the responsibility of temporal and spiritual power fell to me, as tradition required, at the united appeal of the sacred and secular communities of Tibet, and also the statement of the great celestial emperor of China, I have been devoting myself to serving the cause of Buddha's teachings, to consolidating firmly our political sovereignty, and to promoting the welfare and happiness of my subjects to the best of my ability, with goodwill and justice, despite the heavy burden of mental concern that persisted day in and day out. In the Wood Dragon year, 1904, when the British Army invaded Tibet, I considered the long-term consequences for our political authority of coming to terms with them about my personal welfare. I went to Peking, via northern Tibet and Mongolia, to apprise the Emperor and the Queen Mother of our position, and they received me graciously and showed me great honor and hospitality. Before long, both passed away, one after the other. Emperor Xuantung was installed. After apprising the new emperor and his father of our situation, I returned to Tibet with affection. Meanwhile, the Chinese military invasion under Chao Er-theng reached Lhasa in 1909, owing to crafty slander by the resident Amban. Amid the great danger of the taking by force of political power, all of us, the ruler and the ministers, who were invested with that power, departed for India, unmindful of all the hardships. Arriving there safely, we protested to the Chinese government through the British. Then, as the result of the unfailing power of truth, being the fruit of action regarding the performance of religious services and duties for the preservation of Tibet's temporal and spiritual system, the Chinese army and commanders in Tibet became like a reservoir, deprived of water, and were gradually expelled from the country. I returned to the land under my protection, where from 1914 to 1932, a new and glorious peace and happiness has been heralded. All, high and low, have enjoyed this in freedom, with rejoicing and satisfaction. This is just an indication, briefly outlined to avoid a massive writing. Many of the details are in records and the minds of everyone belonging to the sacred and secular communities. Moreover, there is reason why everyone should feel grateful and be content. As for myself, it is a matter of the satisfaction of my heart's desire. If our political institution has been benefited by my endeavor, I do not boast about it, or have the slightest expectation of receiving recognition. In the present state of my life, appropriate with my age, I feel the absolute urge of endeavoring towards the dependable and noble practice, devoting myself solely to virtuous application during the remainder of my life. In view of the long track of life after this, even then, having dared not to forsake the complete trust for the common welfare, placed in me by guardian deities that associate themselves with me like the shadow of one's own body, by the revered lamas, and by my subjects, high and low, who have spiritual and emotional relationship with me, I still continue to exercise my responsibility to the best of my knowledge and ability. I am approaching the 58th year of my age. Everyone knows that I will not be able to carry the burden of temporal and spiritual functions beyond a few years. Now that our neighboring states, India and China, are strong powers, we must establish firm diplomatic ties with them. We must station efficient and well-equipped armies at even minor areas bordering on hostile forces. Such an army must be well trained in the skill of warfare as a definite deterrent to the adversary. Moreover, nowadays communism is spreading more and more. There already was a ban on searching for a reincarnation of the Grand Lama of Urga in Outer Mongolia. The monastic endowments were confiscated. The monks and lamas recruited into the army. Such a system, established at Ulaanbaatar, completely destroyed the Buddhist religion, according to reports already heard. It will definitely invade this land of joint spiritual and temporal systems in the future, either from without or within. If we cannot defend our land at that time, all our holy teachers, including the Dalai Lama and the Panchen Lama, will be eliminated, without even their names being traceable. Properties of incarnate lamas and the monasteries, along with their endowment funds, will be completely destroyed. Our political system, which originated from the three great kings, reduced to a mere name. Our officials deprived of their paternal properties and their wealth, and forced to be slaves of the enemy. And my people subjected to tortures and intimidation day and night. This time will certainly come, and so right now, as our common cause of Buddhist religion and political life remains intact, we enjoy peace and happiness, and the admiration of others. Henceforth, the means of preserving our religion and political life to be employed with every available skill, without leaving any ground for blame and regret, depend upon the service of our officials, both ecclesiastical and secular. For the peace and welfare of the country as a whole, the communities of monks and laity, and all my subjects, must work in full cooperation and united efforts, making no mistakes in their considerations. This is their duty. If they do not deviate from the principles of acceptance and abandonment, as the chief state guardian has proclaimed, there is nothing to be feared. If they endeavor to serve in accordance with the express wishes of the Dalai Lama, this is certainly an affirmation of the principle of harmony. On my part, I will protect and treat affectionately those who serve honestly, in harmony with my consideration for the common cause of Buddhist religion and political life. They will be guided through successful achievement, while guilty ones will experience failure and retribution. Further, if you do not accept the responsibility of serving the state, as at present preferring to indulge in your selfish interest and partiality, it is obvious that the long-term purpose will not be achieved. In future, nothing will help to solve it. Even if you regret, I foresee that the means of happiness in Tibet will last as long as I live. In the long run, each of you will suffer all such miseries, as I have earlier stated. I have no more frank advice than this, which originates from my inner perception and experience and rational consideration. External remedies of religious service are being conducted continually. Essentially, all must conduct the inner remedies of arousing a sense of urgency. And if you work efficiently, by regretting past failures and reforming yourselves in the future, I shall try as long as possible to promote the Buddhist religion and the political system, to treat all our officials affectionately, and to relieve my subjects with peace and happiness, as at the moment, while endeavoring to extend this happy era to 100 years. There is nothing more important than the common welfare. This much is the advice to the common, request from you, and so it is of the utmost importance for you to observe the principles of right and wrong, without deviation, with persistent inward examination throughout all four modes of life, day and night.